Our criminal justice system is imperfect. It is not a flawless arbiter of justice, and it sometimes rules unfairly and incorrectly, which makes one of the most potent arguments against the death penalty the fact that wrongful convictions happen. Innocent people are sentenced to prison for crimes they did not commit. Innocent people serve time for crimes they did not commit. And yes, worst of all, innocent people are put to death for crimes they did not commit. The fact is, there are people sitting on death row at this very second who are innocent of the crimes they were sentenced to die for. Thankfully, some of them have been exonerated. And despite the horrors that they have experienced, many have found a way to persevere and join us in this ongoing fight. We are overjoyed to have several of those wrongfully convicted with us here tonight. When I say your name, please stand to be recognized. Janet Dixon. After being wrongfully accused and convicted, Janet Dixon spent 40 years in prison. Bruce Lisker. Bruce Lisker, after being wrongfully convicted, Bruce Lisker spent 26 and a half years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Marco Contreras. After being wrongly convicted, Marco Contreras spent 20 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And all of you, please stay standing. We have to keep our eyes on you. Arturo Jimenez. Arturo Jimenez was wrongfully convicted and spent 26 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Eddie Lowry. After being wrongfully convicted, Eddie Lowry served 9 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. And I'm going to ask that we hold our applause till the end here because we're going to have a good opportunity. Frankie Carrillo. There we go. Yeah, woohoo! After being wrongfully convicted, Frankie Carrillo spent 20 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Obie Anthony. He's not here. Okay. After being wrongfully convicted, Obie Anthony spent 17 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit. Ruben Penuelas. Here. There we go. After being wrongfully convicted, Ruben Penuelas spent 12 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Kimberly Long. After being wrongfully convicted, Kimberly Long spent 7 years in prison for a crime she didn't commit. Gary Tyler. After being wrongfully convicted, Gary Tyler spent 42 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Maurice Hastings. After being wrongfully convicted, Maurice Hastings spent 38 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Andrew Wilson. After being wrongfully convicted, Andrew Wilson spent 32 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Greg Wilhoit. Nancy Volerston is here on behalf of her brother, Greg Wilhoit, who spent 5 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. Arthur Carmona. Ronnie Saldova is here on behalf of her son, Arthur Carmona, who spent 2 years in prison for a crime he was wrongfully convicted for. These people that you see standing before you represent 296 and a half years stolen by the state through wrongful incarceration. Please join me in acknowledging these heroes. If you see them, hug them hard.